Good, good morning. It's let's see, it's 10:15 in Indianapolis. That's Eastern Standard Time. I'm Bob Kobeck with CustomerCount and Mobius Vendor Partners. And I'm here with my buddy, Mr. Anthony Link, who hails from Oklahoma but enjoys the good life in South Florida today. Hey, what's the weather like today, Anthony?
It is about 85, warm, hot and humid, just like South Florida weather should be.
And what time's it
I
going to rain?
wish you were here.
I wish I was there too. What time's it going to rain?
What time do I get a what?
What time's it going to rain?
The 4 to 5 o'clock, but then it's going to be hot and humid after that. We're already into the tropical weather.
Typical tropical weather.
Typical tropical weather. Hurricanes on the way.
I feel a sneeze coming on, just so you know. It could
Oh,
interrupt
bless you.
a little bit. But I hope that you understand, and I hope that the people watching understand it's a sneeze. I am double vaxxed and boosted, so no worries, no concerns. So kind of jumping sort of like right into it. Anthony Link and ConnectionsGT. One of the reasons that we are successful at deploying survey invitations via SMS is because Connections took the time to build an interface more than just your typical API, so that when we're configuring surveys, I should say the ops people are configuring surveys that are customized to each client, if they want to SMS, we didn't necessarily need to or want to do anything any differently than we would have if we were going to deploy that same survey via email. So Connections showed how malleable they were in helping us build that integration and that interface. And by the way, just so you know that this is in fact a real background here. One of our smoking buddies is in the back. Can you see him, Anthony?
I can see him.
Isn't that pretty cool? Special effects, isn't it?
I like that.
So Anthony, did I introduce that the right way? And then we'll move on to the next cool, innovative stuff that you've got going on.
Oh, absolutely. No, you absolutely did. We actually want to partner with companies just like we partnered with CustomerCount, where we want to provide and develop what a partner and a customer would need to be successful in delivering ComTech strategies. And in doing so, that's where we feel that we fill a niche in the marketplace, because instead of having something disjointed, just like we did with CustomerCount, it's all going over our rails. It's all fully integrated and it can all be deployed. So that's something that we actually pride ourselves on in developing to the customer, and not having to tell the customer, well, you have to do it this way. Because right now, a lot of post-pandemic companies don't have time to do it, just fit it into a box. We want to take and fit it into the customer's business process and how they do it. Okay, well, we're gonna take that mouthful and we're gonna break it down into small bites so that I'm clear. I mean, we have a good business relationship, and there's always, when you're talking about technology, including ours, there's always more. There's always, there's that one more thing that you forget. Whoa, boy, I wish I'd have mentioned that. So I'm hoping that we could get to every bit of that today. We, as you know, we've been around the hospitality industry and the call center industry for an awfully, awfully long time, which I'm pretty sure is one of the, but not to mention politics, which is, I'm pretty sure, among other reasons that, that cause us to do business together, that makes us good partners. I mean, I assume we're good partners. What's a good partner to you? What makes up a good partner? When you say you're looking for a partner, what does that mean? They can sell, they can support the technology, they can service. What does it mean to There's a good, what it means to me personally is that there's a good relationship. I mean, when we go and we partner, we're investing development dollars, and we want the partner to have a good relationship with us, just like the way that we've developed over the past 3 years. if I had to say, if there's one good partner, and that would actually be CustomerCount. You guys are one of the best partners just in the relationship and how we work together.
Oh, that's good enough. It's quite a compliment. You know, it's hard to be firm and fair at the same time. And in a lot of really good partnerships, it's difficult sometimes to figure out who's buying and who's selling because we offer complementary services. And there's not a competitive bone in either one of our technology platforms. So they really are truly are complementary. So, okay, so when did Connections Group, the forerunner of Connections GT, when did you form? And what made you start your company?
Well, we actually formed Connections Group back in 2015. What made us form Connections Group is that we saw we were actually working with a seasoning group, my partner and I, in the Connections Group with Weber Seasoning. We actually use short codes that were placed on seasonings that would actually provide recipes. Whenever they did that, then they would buy more seasonings. So we saw the value of the texting and that as a communication tool. But we really felt that the market is going to go to two-way communication. You could have everything you can do with voice, you should be able to do with text and have a two-way communication with the business. Because the amount of time, nobody, even back in 2015, it already started where people weren't answering the phones. People didn't really want to communicate over the voice and a regular call. They wanted to communicate over text. The other part too is that we developed. Now this is not something within the Connections GT, but I'm an inventor on a patent called Click to Text that allows a text conversation to be started through any digital asset, especially programmatic. There was already a patent coming from a hyperlink on a text, and we really wanted to close that circle. So we really jumped into the marketplace as being a communication tool, not just a one-way street of sending a text and you can't respond. So that's kind of how we got into it. Then in 2021, the Connections Group became Connections GT with the partnership with a group out in California.
That would be our friend Mark.
That would be our friend Mark Powers and their relationship with CallSource, which really, elevates all of the customer and client success that we can provide, because they were providing, client success and customer service to 17,000 dealerships. And for us, we view this as a Boston consulting type of approach, a consulting type of approach with every client that we work with. It's not just self-service. So in doing that, we really needed a company that could provide very good, high quality customer support. Because without that customer support, we really feel that it's a failing in the marketplace when you need support and it's just not there.
Yeah, you know what? One of the things that it's starting to come around, and that one of the things we like to say here is we answer the phone. We have competitors, and as technology companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, they start acting more like technology companies and less like service companies. And of course, in your business and in my business, we always are asking ourselves the question: are we a service company or are we a technology company? And we take the easy way out and say, well, hell, we're both. But
you have to be.
Well, you kind of have to be, but you also need to make, you need to have an identity. So we go back and forth. I'm sure you do too, though, right? I mean, you're both.
If you're not both, you're not going to be successful. Unless you are a self-service vendor and people can go sign up and that's all that you do, you essentially are both. You're both a service and technology. And the technology is second because the service is the most important.
Well, if your technology can support the service, and it gets back to, at least it's a loop. In our particular case, we sort of have this moniker until now. It's been internal. Now I'll just make it external, but it's that nothing will kill a poor product quicker than a good marketing campaign. And so protecting the integrity of the product here is always paramount to us. It's always number one. The company is owned by a sales guy, and yet we will defer to the product every time to make sure that the integrity of the product is tightened up. You wouldn't be rolling out some of the stuff you're rolling out unless you knew that your product was buttoned down. And streets are paved with companies that are huge that forget to answer the damn phone.
Forget to answer the phone, and they also forget that their technology stack, and they try to force companies to develop to that technology stack, or they're on a legacy system, and they never really innovate. And you see that all over the marketplace right now.
Yeah. So getting to the really super duper exciting stuff. You've gone from the Connections group. Now we'll move it up to ConnectionsGT, and how you're still working to incorporate your business with another larger business. It was more of a merger, I think, than a purchase. At least that's the sense that I get externally, which I would guess is the sentiment you want to be out there. But that was a leap there, Anthony. By the way, I just wanted to, I'm aware that was a jump.
Yeah, the way that it's structured is not technically a merger, but we are very closely aligned. Is the way that it's set up now, that provides us access to all of the call source client success and customer service, and really, allows us to be fully integrated into a company that provides that first tier support.
That's great. Including programming and API development and all that stuff. Is that included in that support?
We work with all parts of call source, but we also have our own developers in Melbourne, Florida. We have a group in Bogota, Colombia too, that's outsourced. So it really provides us the ability to actually utilize the most effective, personnel and the most effective development group for what our needs are at that time.
I've been to Bogota, Anthony. I did an audit of a call center in Bogota, and I found Bogota to be a very charming city.
I love Bogota.
Been
there many times, and it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
It exceeded my expectations. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking a jungle village or something. Boy, it is a charming city.
The roses are about that big around. All of the microclimates that are there. So it's a wonderful place to visit.
Yeah. Now, just as a matter of a commercial, I will say that it's not going to be a secret because we're rolling it out as we speak, the public relations. But one of the things that we're developing and about to beta with the resort is the ability to deploy a survey when a guest is checking in. And by the way, guest means it could be a patient checking into a clinic. It could be a guest checking into a hotel. It could be an owner checking into a timeshare resort. But as they're checking in, before they even leave that desk, then an SMS is texted to them immediately that gives them the opportunity to respond or make requests, so it's a concierge system. And that's a technology that for us is kind of new, but for you probably not so new. Am I right about that?
Well, yeah, but see, that's the perfect synergistic effect, because if our capability is about being able to send basically from a guest check-in a text. We call it a welcome text, but that welcome text it was always it's like guests don't know what they don't know. So it's just like initially saying, text a number. Well, nobody get nobody texts the number. You have a very low amount of text coming through. Then you send a text out saying we're here. That's what we call a welcome text. But the reason that I'm very excited about the on-site service request is now you're going to actually provide everything that's going on at the resort, because we see intelligence and we see communication from resorts. Well, people don't know what that resort offers. And these are big resorts. These are resorts that you would think that they would know whenever they're staying there. But when they don't know, then they have lower guest satisfaction. Now with the on-site service request, you're going to be able to click on that link that you receive via text or via WhatsApp that I know that we're going to talk about, and being able to see all the parts of a resort that the guest can engage with.
Yeah, from our point of view, what we offer to our clients is many different ways to shake the hand of your guest as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's always, we're using technology to do that. We're hoping we personalize everything, but what we do know today, and that, by the way, also goes towards employees even more so now than customers, that you've got to be able to shake their hand every time. I mean, every time they turn around, you're going to be there and, shaking their hand, and particularly in hospitality now with the guests. So that the two-way communications, which is different than deploying the on-site service request, how does the two-way communications work between, say, a patient in a doctor's office or a guest in a resort?
Well, the two-way communication allows whenever the message is usually sent out over the front desk number or over the number that is associated with the doctor's office. The two-way text allows for the guest or the patient to then text back. But that's where, providing that on-site service request link, they can go to it and then they can make all the requests there, or they can go back to that text if they don't see something there or have another question and make the request. It's just providing all of the availability of what is going on, so the guest and or patient or customer, is fully informed on what they can engage with the
so they can use the survey or text directly back. Their choice.
Their choice. For us, it's all, because we're not, even though we are a message and text company, we're not, we don't say forget about voice. And that's what you have, this voice over here and this text over here, with a lot of companies. It's all disjointed. What we really feel is you need to have a fully integrated voice text strategy. And that means providing all of the ways that a guest or patient will want to communicate with the resort, not just forcing them to take the communication method that the business wants, because the way that the business wants sometimes leads to a low guest satisfaction. We've been told a couple of times by some prospects, well, I don't want to provide more communication channels. I just want it to be voice. Well, right now in 2022, especially post-pandemic, these companies have the crisis of communication because they don't have the personnel. Nobody is fully staffed that they used to be, and there's more questions that are coming from the guest or patient. So these companies that pre-pandemic told me, I don't want to open more communication paths, I just want it to be voice, they are swimming underwater. The more communication paths you open, the more ways that you open for the guest to say what they need and what's going to make them happy, the better off And the, the higher ROI, the better guest satisfaction, and the lower personnel and human resources that either a resort's going to need, a doctor's office is going to need, or a company's going to need.
You know, it's interesting how the evolution of companies that didn't want another vehicle for communication, when there have been studies after study after study that shows a direct relationship between accessibility and credibility. And that the more accessible you are, the more credible you are. That's why it gets back to the earlier discussion about we answer the phone. You know, that's a real important element for us to maintain credibility in it. And so to say, well, I don't want another communication vehicle is really being, I don't know, it's pretty old school. I mean,
well, you lose trust. I mean, that
mentality, you know.
Yeah, you lose trust, and that's really what we're about, is providing trust, you know, between the guest or patient and the business, and also providing trust with the going back to, because, you know, if personnel, and if at the resorts, if you're providing a way that the guests are communicating, you don't have the friction that you have, you know, over the past 2 years that I have seen, where you just have so much frustration built up. The personnel that are working at the resorts are frustrated. The guests are frustrated. And to me, why a huge part of that is because the business has not focused on communicating with their customer, with the guest, with the patient. You know, when I've called up to airlines, or I've called up to other groups that I need customer support for me personally, and I'm being told, you know, and this is a real example that happened last summer, your hold time is 24 hours and 36 seconds. And that was in airlines. And I've called even on a hospitality where you're on for over 60 minutes. Nobody's going to do that. You need the communication. To me, there's such a crisis of communication that we're in, and a lot of businesses just want to patch on, or, oh, I've got Twitter, now send it through Twitter, and then, oh, okay, I'm good. There's very few businesses that really, we see, take a really good approach to providing communication methods to the customers, to the guests, to the patients. You know, I have multiple myeloma. I have to interact with medical facilities all the time. And every time I interact outside of the one that I go to at Cleveland Clinic, it's always a painful process. And that's really, you know, there's a painful process of communication. And that's what we feel that we can help solve for businesses.
You know, that's a really good segue there, buddy. If I could get this screen to move, we could go to, there we go. Your charity of choice. Oh boy, that's really fuzzy, isn't it? Sorry about that logo. And so the International Myeloma Foundation is your charity of choice. And just so you know, that for all my guests, when we do their charity of choice, I make a $50 contribution as a way of thanking you for your time. I can't send you a check because I don't want to 1099 you at the end of the year. So I'd rather just contribute to the charity if you're okay with that.
It's more important for me. You know, I came down with multiple myeloma in 2015, and it's something that you know, is very close to my heart with the Myeloma Foundation.
What are they doing? They're raising money.
The Myeloma Foundation is raising money. They raise money to help put back into the research for myeloma and blood cancer, but they also raise money because, you know, a lot of myeloma patients, no matter how much wealth they've built up, if they don't have good insurance, even if they do have good insurance, it's a costly disease to be able to help fund prescriptions. You know, you're talking about $10,000, $20,000 a month, you know, to be able to take the necessary medication. Then you have a stem cell transplant that could be $500,000 or to $1 million. So the myeloma foundation not only provides funds and help back to help with research, but it also provides for those that really, you know, need some additional you know, monthly amounts just to be able to eat, just to be able to take care of themselves. So
Where are they located?
I actually don't know where International Myeloma Foundation is located. I've always just worked with them, you know, and also done some surveys and other engagements with the Myeloma Foundation. I have it to where on my Amazon, everything I buy from Amazon, there's a certain percent that goes back to the Myeloma Foundation.
That's their SMILE program. I do that.
That's their SMILE program. Yep.
Yeah. Geez, you know, I mean, there's so many different ways to give and so many different places to give. And that's why picking, you know, making sure that we cover your charity of choice is so important on these. You know, there may be only 5 people that see it, Anthony, but, you know, those are 5 people that wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Absolutely.
Of course, you know, I'd like to think that you and I are not sitting here talking to ourselves. But you just never know, you know. Okay, well, in that case, then I will say that this is how you get rid of Anthony, or get rid of Bob and get to Anthony. Anthony is very accessible. I find he answers emails pretty quickly. He never answers the phone, but he will text you immediately.
That is true. Bob, Bob, you know me well on that.
Well, after 3 years, you know, but it's a way of saying he is very accessible. So, Anthony, I'm gonna stop the share, and then I'm gonna stop the recording, and you and I can wrap it up. And I'm just grateful to anybody that took the time to listen to this and to listen to what Anthony has to say. We have got some real exciting news coming up. I don't think we're ready to share it just yet. Are we? Not. I don't think we are.
Oh, we can share it right now, and it'll probably coincide with the releases that are coming out.
Yeah, I think we might want to wait for Georgia to get the releases out.
Okay.
That's what I think. I mean, of course, we could take this opportunity to. So why don't you go ahead? Let's just do it. We've teased enough.
Well, you know, something that we are that is we have access to is in our Comtech platform. We are one of the first ones to have access to the WhatsApp channel, fully integrated into our Comtech technology stack, fully developed into our CPaaS platform. And we're going to be providing that, so the surveys, the on-site service requests can all go through the WhatsApp channel, which I believe is extremely important. The WhatsApp outside of the United States is the communication channel of choice for South America, for Europe. Everybody uses it. And in the US, even the Hispanic population, you're talking about a penetration rate over 80%. So for us, we feel at the resort, you don't just need to cater to the North Americans, for the Canadians and the Americans. You need to cater to the international travelers or to travelers outside. And by providing the WhatsApp, the surveys will go have the ability to go over WhatsApp, and the on-site service request. That's very important for the if you're a traveler, even from the US, you're down at a Mexico resort, or you're in Colombia, or you're in one of the European resorts, because by having it go in WhatsApp, you're not incurring the fees, and that is outside of the US, the way that a lot of people communicate. And WhatsApp is owned by Meta, and it's also very secure. There's been a lot of push, even in the North American market, for the WhatsApp. So providing the WhatsApp for the ability for your surveys and your on-site service requests to be delivered now, that it can be focused on any international properties and to the international customers that come to US properties, which to me is a very important part. I'm not about just providing a communication tool to the Americans or to the Canadians. I really want a communication tool that's to everybody at any resort that they're at, whether they're in the US or whether they're somewhere down in Mexico.
In our particular case, what's important about that is the prominence of WhatsApp in parts of the world other than the US, and the US growing, of course, but we deploy our surveys in 40 different languages, and we are a global provider of service. So having that WhatsApp vehicle available to our clients to be able to show, demonstrate higher penetration, higher response rate, higher everything, better engagement is a big plus. And from what I understand, we'll be the only ones doing that for probably quite some time.
You'll be the only ones delivering the surveys and the on-site service requests for quite some time over the WhatsApp channel. And it's something, just like you had said, you're in the languages, you're in international properties. Now it's a way to deliver those surveys in the communication method that the guests are used to using, and even the hotel is used to sending. I'm sure that just like in the US, if something needs to happen, people pick up their personal phones and are sending WhatsApp messages. Now it's all integrated into what we do. I'm very excited about providing that. I love and I've lived in many different parts of the world, and to me, it's just it's an important part, an important evolution of where our companies are going.
I love this. So we probably gotten ourselves in big trouble with Georgie for
Sorry, Georgie.
But sorry, Georgie. But this, fortunately, this is a Thursday broadcast. So we'll give Georgie 2 days to get her stuff out. And thank everybody. Be sure you visit ConnectionsGT.com and or CustomerCount.com.
Thank you very much, Bob.